YouTube, Computer Kid 1416 here, and today I'm going to be building a new machine. That's right, I've been using the machine I have now since 2016. I built it around this time in 2016, so I figured it was time for an upgrade. In fact, the processor I'm using now, which is a Core i7 4790K, is not even compatible with Windows 11, so... And I know there are workarounds like with the registry and whatnot, but you know what, I figure now is a better time than ever to go ahead and upgrade. Now that computer prices are starting to even out a little bit. There's still one exception that I'll get into of a specific component that's going to be nearly impossible to find, but you know, processors, RAM, etc. are really you know, starting to kind of become available again. So I figure now is the better time than ever to go ahead and upgrade. And as you can obviously tell, I'm making the switch to AMD Ryzen this time. Now the reason I went with the i7 back in 2016, the AMD Ryzen was out, and it was, you know, a lot of my friends said good things about it even then. But for me personally, I had a bad experience with AMD. You see, back in 2013, I built my very first machine. I used an AMD FX, I forget the model number, but it was an AMD FX chip. And it was actually, believe it or not, involved in a lawsuit later on because they claimed that, and this is part of the reason I bought it back then because I didn't know any better, they claimed that it was a true 8-core processor, which it was obviously not, as you can imagine back then. It was a quad-core hyper-threaded. So, yeah, so I actually ended up getting a little bit of a settlement later on, believe it or not. But yeah, and so that wasn't the only thing wrong with it. It was, it just was not a very well performing chip at all. I'm sure if you guys go look up AMD FX, you'll hear nightmare stories similar to mine. But basically, yeah, it just overheated and basically died on me. So, yeah, needless to say, I had a bad taste in my mouth for AMD for a long time after that. But thankfully, from what I've heard, AMD Ryzen has really redeemed AMD. They've really redeemed themselves with the Ryzen line. So, yeah, I have high hopes that this will kind of hopefully give me a better feel for AMD again. So anyway, I went with the Ryzen 5, the 5600X to be exact. It's a 6-core processor running at 4.2 gigahertz, overclocked to 4.8, which should be really, really nice. I thought about going for the Ryzen 7, but it's $100 more, and all that adds is 2 more cores, and the clock speed is exactly the same. So I figure it's not worth the upgrade for me personally. Mainly I just use it for video editing and light gaming, so for me it's perfectly acceptable. So anyway, yeah, I'm not going to unbox the chip right now or anything like that, but until we build it. But yeah, basically, and also I've heard that the stock coolers on these are much nicer than Intel's as well. So I think, at least for the time being, I'm going to stick to the stock cooler and see how that goes. And if I need to, I can always, of course, get another cooler. But I figure to start out with, at least I hear good things about the stock cooler, so I'll just stick with that. So anyway, we'll put that aside for now. We got the RAM. I'm going to be upgrading to 32 gigs of RAM. Currently I have 16. And also the RAM I have now is DDR3, and this is going to be DDR4, so I had to get brand new sticks. This 2 16 gig sticks, so you get dual channel memory there. And finally we've got the motherboard. This was suggested to me by the Flying Scotsman here on YouTube. Suggested I go with MSI this time, so figure why not. The MSI B450 Tomahawk Max 2. Seems to be a perfectly acceptable board for what I need it for, micro ATX. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And you might be thinking, where's everything else? Well, I'm going to be reusing everything else. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to be reusing my case, which is a Corsair case. I don't know, I couldn't say that. You'll see later when I actually build the machine. So I'm going to be reusing that. I'm going to be reusing the storage. I've got a 500 gig Samsung SSD, SATA. Now eventually I might upgrade to a M.2 SSD, but I figure it wasn't worth investing in that right now. The SSD seems to function perfectly fine for right now, so I figure I'll start out with that, and then eventually I'll upgrade. And then I've also got a 3 terabyte drive for storage, which I'm going to upgrade to 6 terabytes here in the near future. So that will be good. And I also, I mentioned this earlier, but, you know, prices are starting to get a little better with one big exception, and that's video cards. Thanks to Bitcoin miners and whatnot, video cards are still very, very, very expensive. So, you know, we can thank them for that. Yeah, so unfortunately, and this is going to be the one thing that will bog my system down just a little bit. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to take out another mortgage just to get a video card right now. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to be reusing my NVIDIA 1050 Ti. I know, it's a crime there. But, again, I just, you know, obviously can't get anything else right now, so it is what it is. But, you know, eventually I'll upgrade that when prices get better, and that will make it feel like new again. So, yep, I'm just going to stick with that video card for now. And anything else I'm missing? I think that's about it. Now, obviously, because I'm going to be doing gaming on this, I'm going to continue using Windows like I always have. What I'm thinking I'll do about that is I have a couple of Windows 8.1 Pro keys, totally legit keys, that I'm going to try, because you can activate Windows 10 with a Windows 8 key. So I'm going to try doing that and then upgrading to Windows 11, because obviously it's a free upgrade. And then once you upgrade to Windows 11 successfully, it's tied to your motherboard from then on out. So then you can reinstall Windows all you want to. So that's what I think I'm going to try to do. Hopefully I won't have to go out and buy a key. You know, hopefully I haven't used those keys yet. I think one of them's used for my laptop, and then the other one I think hopefully is free. So yeah, I'm going to try doing that. And we'll go from there. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna try to do a video while I build it this time. I know I didn't do that last time, but I'm gonna probably do a speed lapse because you know, I like to take my time with these kind of things. I'm not gonna rush just for the sake of the video, of course. So yeah, I'll probably do a video of me building it and then just kind of do a little time lapse. So anyway, we'll see what happens next. But I'll come back in a minute. All right, guys. So I got the old machine set up here and. Yeah, I just realized I don't think I did a video on my computer build before. Man, I may have mentioned it in like room tours or whatever, but I don't think I actually ever did a machine build video, which is kind of a shame because, you know, obviously you can't go back and make a video after you've already built it. So I'll try to do that from now on just to document it. But anyway, yeah. So what I'm going to start off by doing here is just taking out the components I'm not going to be using, and then cleaning and dusting out the parts that I'm going to reuse. So anyway, yeah, as you can see, it's quite a bit dusty. Not as bad as it could be. I mean, the filtration system on this dusting did a pretty good job, but you know, there's obviously going to be some dust here and there. So anyway, all right, I'm going to start the time lapse here. Oh, and but by the way, before I do that, I just want to mention. You may notice I'm not using an anti-static wristband. Please don't comment about that in the comments. I would appreciate that. I will be touching metal every now and then to kind of make up for it, but I couldn't find mine at the moment. So anyway, just if you could please keep that out of the comments, I'd appreciate it. But anyway, all right, let me start the time lapse then. Alright, so now let's put together the motherboard. Now, if you're wondering what I'm going to do with the old CPU and motherboard, I thought about selling them. But honestly, though, it doesn't hurt to have a nice secondary machine. You know, maybe to build a machine to put at my parents' house eventually or something. So, yeah, I'll give that some thought. But yeah, I'll probably end up reusing that at some point. But anyway, I guess the first thing we'll do is we'll install the RAM. I just need to look up what orientation they want me to put it. Usually it's like the first and second and third. It's usually staggered like that. And we'll get some other goodies like some extra SATA cables that I don't need. A driver key, which I shouldn't need, I don't think. Let's see what it says about the RAM here. And hopefully, since I'm using the stock cooler, hopefully I won't have any trouble installing that. Okay, let's see if it talks about the, yep. Okay, so, yep, it wants me to do it in the second and fourth. So, let's see here how that's oriented. A2 and E2. So that should be, yep, first and third. So, looks like I don't have to cut this RAM box open, which is nice. About 32 gigs of RAM. Now I can have more tabs open than I already have open. But I don't. Throw that in there, I guess. Okay, so looks like it would help move these tabs back, wouldn't it? Nice and easy is the way to do this. By the way, this is not a tutorial of any kind, just to let you know. I don't, you know, as usual, I'm not responsible for anything that may happen. I'm just kind of documenting the way I do it. But I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to make this in like a tutorial, extra tutorial or anything like that. Yeah, that should do it. Yep, that should do it for that. So now let's work on the CPU, which is always the scary part. So, let's take a look here off camera, see what they want me to do here. What's nice about AMD is that the pins are on the processor itself, not the board. So it makes it a little less intimidating when you're installing it. I remember I did like that about my 2013 build, is how easy it was to put in. Not that you can't bend the pins on the processor itself, but you know, I feel like you're less likely to do that than you would on the board. So there's the cooler, we'll put that aside. And the processor itself with a nice sticker. I'm a sucker for case stickers, so I'll have to definitely use that. As well as get a Windows 11 sticker. I have seen some on eBay, but I don't know if they're legit or not, if they even have a Windows 11 sticker. I'm sure they probably do, they usually do, so I have to look into that. Assuming this is mostly straightforward, just line it up correctly and we're good to go. So it looks like there's a notch cut out. That's the corresponding notch on the motherboard. I should probably have looked at the manual here. That would help. Okay, I think I got it here. Makes sense. The Ryzen text is, if you're looking at the RAM, which it's upside down on camera, but the Ryzen logo is spaced out, is oriented the right way, so it kind of makes sense when you think of it that way. Alright, yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like I said, I much prefer the way AMD does things. It just feels a lot less intimidating. Alright, so now I'm going to, I'll put this aside for now for one thing. Don't want to lose anything. Now we're going to worry about the cooler. Like I said, I don't know AMD stock coolers if they include pre-applied thermal paste or what. Yes, they do. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's kind of, I guess that's one advantage of using stock coolers. And you know, again, with Intels they're not very good, but with AMDs, you know, they're decent enough, and you know, you get the advantage of, like I said, the pre-applied thermal paste. So, let's see if there's any special way they want me to do this. Sorry, I know this part's going to be a little longer. I just am trying to do this raw. Alright, here we go. Okay, it looks like there's a pin that corresponds with the pin on the actual processor. Well, I don't see anything. Let's see here. I don't know if it matters, honestly. I mean, you'll want to make sure the cable here reaches properly. You know, I don't think it matters, honestly. Doesn't look like it does, actually. Alright guys, I got it figured out. There were some brackets on there that had to be removed, which I guess are used for certain coolers, or certain processors I should say, but this one does not use those. So. And actually, I can already tell it's a lot more solid than the Intel ones, because they actually screw in, they don't just snap in like the Intel ones do. That's really nice. I'm going to try to tighten evenly here. The sound you're hearing is the spring loader. Alright, I'm going to start another time lapse, but first I just wanted to show that it's got a really cool looking I/O panel. Let me focus it in here. Yep, anyway, let me go ahead and start the time lapse. Alright, that went in really nicely actually. So now I'm just going to go forward with the rest of the build. I'm actually going to take a quick break here. I've been working on this for quite a while, and also the camera battery needs to be recharged, so I'm going to do that and I will be back. Another quick thing I wanted to mention, I know I said this wasn't a tutorial per se, but I was just going to say I really like these cases that have the back that's completely removable, the side that's completely removable for cable management. And as you can see, it's never going to be perfectly flush, so what's nice about this case is that it's got a little bit of a lip. Now I wish it had even more of a lip, but I guess at that point it wouldn't make it ruin the aesthetic, so yeah, it's just enough here where it'll fit pretty nicely. So anyway, yep, let's hook it back up. Alright, let's do the first boot on. Now, I admit I made it's a major risk here because I didn't test anything along the way, so if something is wrong, it's going to be harder for me to figure out what it is, but I guess I took a little bit of a risk here, like I said, but anyway, let's see if we did it right. Oh, power switch works. See if we get video. It's nice and quiet, that's probably because I dusted it out quite a bit. I forgot to hook up the PC speaker so we won't hear a beep. But, no video so far. Let's see. Add any switch inputs, possibly? Let's see. Let me try restarting my monitor here. Well, the KVM switch picked it up, I think. Yeah, it's on the right input on the KVM switch. Well, that's my work laptop there. That's not it. No video whatsoever. Well, let me see what's going on here. Alright, well, we apparently have success now. I didn't really do anything except just wiggle the RAM, so apparently that helped. That's usually it's the first thing to check is the RAM, because usually that causes some issues, but anyway. It's not, you know what, I'm wondering because I'm using a KVM switch which is software based. I'm wondering if it's not going to work unless I connect it directly. So let me do that and I'll be back. Alright, so what I had to do was hook my keyboard and laptop, or keyboard and mouse I mean, directly to the computer. Since the KVM switch won't work until you get into the operating system, so anyway. Let's go ahead and turn it back on. Like I said, it's a lot quieter now that I've dusted everything out. Looks like we got a signal there. Yep, still working fine, looks like. Yep. So now we have mouse support, so it's only running at 3.7 gigahertz. I wonder how we can overclock that. And it looks like all the fans are working as well. That's always a good thing. I didn't hear any beeps. I don't know if that's because I installed the speaker in incorrectly or if it's just doesn't beep at post. But anyway, let's see what we got here. Yep, showing our two drives, the SSD and the 3 terabyte drive, as well as the Blu-ray drive. I can always come back and mess with this more later. I just kind of wanted to see what we had there. Yeah, I'll have to do some look into how to overclock. Let's go ahead and get out of that. Should boot back into Windows 10. Windows 10 is pretty good about, swapping hard drives from one computer to another. It doesn't tend to freak out as much as the older version of the Windows did, so I don't think it should give any issue booting into Windows. Not that I'm going to keep that original installation, of course. I'm obviously going to be reinstalling, but it's just interesting to know that it does do that. Let's see here. So like a advanced, I was about to say, because that's more at my alley. Okay, let's see. The overclocking settings. I'll play around with that later. I don't want to have to worry about that right now. Alright, let's see. So boot option 1. Which is which? because it's recognizing my SSD, so that's not the issue. But it's just not set to boot from that. It's trying to boot from, I'm assuming, the other hard drive, which is not to have any, obviously, any operating systems on it. I think USB hard disk. I don't know what that's considering. Let's see what I can do here. Probably read the manual, which I may do, but I'm not going to figure out myself. Yeah, it's not recognizing my. May have to fix that before I can do anything else. F11 is boot menu, but I need to fix my keyboard, so I'll be right back. Well, no matter what I try, it doesn't seem to want to recognize the SSD as bootable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and boot into Windows using my USB drive there, Windows setup I should say. And, just go ahead and install Windows. I was going to double check to make sure I got everything off the C drive, but I'm 99% sure I did, because I keep everything on my storage drive, obviously, and I did do a quick sweep to the C drive, and I didn't see anything on there. So anyway, the beep works, by the way. I decided to enable it in the settings, but anyway, let's go ahead and boot from USB. Oh, and it doesn't want to do it for some reason. That's annoying. Well, let's restart it and try it again. I don't know what's going on here today. Alright, so what I'm actually having to do here is a spare 64 gig flash drive I had, and actually make a Windows 10 flash drive. Now, like I said, the reason I'm going to start out with Windows 10 is because I'm going to use the 8.1 key to activate it, and then upgrade to Windows 11. So, but yeah, hoping this works. I don't know why it wasn't booting from my SSD or my multi-OS flash drive. The flash drive I can understand a little more, but I would think it would at least boot it from the SSD. So I don't know. Hopefully there's nothing more serious going on here. But what I'll do is I'll just try booting from this Windows 10 flash drive, and hopefully it'll work. Alright, let's try this again. You notice that now it recognizes that it's a SanDisk, so maybe that's a good sign that it's going to work this time. Let's give it a try. Oh, so far so good. Yep, looks like it's, I don't know why it looks stretched out like that. Probably has something to do with the resolution, but anyway. Well, and I don't have a keyboard hooked up, so, but I think you could probably do this with just the keyboard. We'll try it out here. I'm not going to go through the whole setup on camera, but I just want to see if we can get it started at least. Like I said, when setup completes, I'm going to use the Windows 8.1 key to activate it, and then upgrade to Windows 11 from there. So, you can use the keyboard. That's kind of nice. Windows 10 Pro. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's the space bar. Okay. And I don't have my 3 terabyte drive plugged in, which is probably a good thing because I don't want to risk anything happening to it. It's got all my data on it, so looks like we got to format it. Well, delete it first. Okay, we'll make a new partition there. Okay, well there we go. So it's installing, and I'll be back when it finishes. Alright, so it was a success. I had a Windows 8 Pro key that was not being used, so I was able to activate Windows 10 with it, and now I'm downloading Windows 11. So I probably won't come back again until I'm completely set up and everything, just because you guys have probably seen Windows installed a million times. So yeah, I'm just going to get all my stuff, all my settings configured how I like it, and then I'll come back. Alright, we're in Windows 11 now. I'm still working on getting all my settings configured, but I did want to show this off. I may have mentioned this before, but this website, 9night.com, is a really good website. As you can see, it lets you download basically one installer for all these applications that you want, and you can even update all of them at once as well. So yeah, I highly recommend this website if you've never been there before. Alright, we're back. It's been a few days. I've gotten everything configured like I like it, and as you can see, I haven't changed the default wallpaper yet. I don't know why. I like to keep it for at least a little while, and then I'll eventually change it. But yeah, let me go ahead and pull up Specky here. But yeah, I really like Windows 11 so far. You know, it's got a nice interface. It's a really welcome change in my opinion, and I like the new sounds. They're really relaxing. So yeah, I really like Windows 11 so far. But anyway, go and pull up Specky here. Yep, Windows 11 Pro. There's the 6 cores, 12 virtual cores, 32 gigs of RAM, which is really welcome upgrade as well. Same old graphics card, but it'll have to be like that for a little while, unfortunately. You can see I haven't upgraded my data drive yet, but I do plan on doing that fairly soon. Forgot to mention, when I was building it, I also have a Blu-ray drive there, which I mainly just use for ripping movies onto my laptop to watch on the plane and whatnot. Yep. Now, one thing that was kind of an oversight on my part was, you see it's only running at 3.7 gigahertz. I did not think about the fact that if I'm going to overclock it, I'm going to want to have a different cooler. So I mentioned earlier that, you know, I'd be fine with the stock cooler. Well, that was assuming that I wasn't going to overclock. Well, since I do want to overclock, I'm going to want to get one. So I'll do that, you know, fairly soon. I'm hoping, because I think in my machine, I think there's a cutout in the back for the processor. So hopefully I don't have to, you know, disassemble the whole thing. That would kind of be a nightmare. So yeah, I'm hoping I can do that without having to disassemble anything. Anyway, not much else to see here. Just kind of blow through this real quick. See, it seems to be running pretty cool. But again, it won't be that way when I overclock, so I'll have to get a better cooler. Alright, well, I guess that's about it. Like I said, I'm not going to do like a review of the operating system itself or anything like that, but just mainly wanted to show me building this machine and kind of get my overall thoughts on it. Yeah, I think I've been running it for, like I said, almost a week, and I'm really enjoying it so far, especially when I end up overclocking it. That'll really make a big difference. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I can already tell this is going to take a while to edit because of the time-lapse stuff, but yep, so you guys may not see this until at least a week after I filmed it, but yep, I will hopefully be back with a lot of videos this year. I'm planning to as I said in that update video, I'm kind of wanting to make a somewhat of a comeback this year, so to kind of older style videos. So yep, anyway, I will see you guys next time.